Now that you've learned how to do unit rate word problem and know what unit rate is, we're going to be talking and we're going to be doing some word problems that have also use rates. Like, we don't always want per. We might want, like, is that per hour? Like 7 hours. So instead, we're going to be doing a word problem that also isn't just unit rate, like per, but for multiple hours. But you'll notice that in these problems, we need to use, so unit rate still applies. When we do more examples, it'll make more sense. So right now, this word problem says, Evan babysits for 2.5 hours and is paid $12. Now this word problem has two parts. Part A says, how much money does he make per hour? So this is, again, unit rate. How much, and then part B says, how much money does he make for 6 hours? Now, that's part B. So the first one, we're going to actually split the paper here. We're going to say A and B. A and part B. First one is the same thing we've been doing all around the last video. So in the last video also we talked about it. So is our hours going to be the denominator or are hours going to be the numerator? Since right away I know I'm looking for per hour, my denominator is 1 hour. So obviously this has to be also an hour. So 2.5 hours is the bottom and the dollars is at the top. Because right away, like, we have to find what we're looking for per hour, so that has to be our denominator. Now here, what we would do is we would divide by 2.5. And when you do 42 divided by 2.5, you're going to get $16.8. However, I would not leave like this because money is not written in the tens. It's actually you have to put 0. Like this says $16.80. This is how money is actually written. You don't put 0.8, right? It's 0.80. So that's that. Now for part B, what we're not going to do is we're not going to make a proportion, say 42 and 2.5, and you have to get 6. Since we already done this in part A and we found 1 hour, it's going to be so much easier if we do 16.80 divided by 1 hour. We're going to use this new this new proportion, and we're going to find 6 hours. Now it's so easy right now since it is super easy now. Because all we gotta do over here is times. This time we're not dividing, and this makes sense because if I have to get to 1 hour to 6 hours, am I gonna be dividing by 6 or multiplying by 6? If I have 1 gets times the 6 gets me to 6 hours. Again, whatever I do to the denominator, I must do to the numerator. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the top, and when I do that, times by 6, I would get 100.8, but remember put that 0 in, and that's your answer. So it takes, and then the money sign, obviously the dollar sign. So that's your end thing. This is so much easier. Now all we gotta do is take our unit rate and times it by like 6, right? This is the thing we have to use. You're not gonna be doing $42 over 2.5 hours, and you have to try to get 6. That would not be the most important, like best idea, because now you have to do more work. Right away, you just use the same proportion right over here, and all I got this time is by 6. Next word problem. This one actually isn't asking us for the unit rate. There is no 2 parts like there was in the other one. That was like a quick refresher. But you're gonna notice in this problem, we still use unit rate. You still use unit rate. And you're gonna notice how it took her 12 hours to read a 480-page book. At this rate, how long will it take her to read a 500-page book? So we are finding how much pages she read 1 hour, not how much time it takes her to read 1 page. We are really looking for to find straight to 500 pages. But how are we getting, this is getting, now you're going to use unit rate, and you'll notice, forget about the 500 page. It still is like, this one was like, okay, this problem made us do the unit rate. This one is telling us to find the unit rate, but you're not really able to solve this without doing unit rate. So what you're going to do is, but this is a little different how we're going to set up the proportion or the ratio. So we're not going to do 12 hours over 480, and we're not going to go finding the one page. Even though technically this problem is still saying, okay, like 12 hours, 480. This is a little bit different because it's with hours and pages. It's actually going to be 12 hours and it's not going to be this first proportion over here. It's going to be, we're going to put that 480 on the top, and we're going to put that 12 hours on the bottom. Because it's telling us how long will it take her. And we're going to find that time. And if we're doing unit rate, what's the first thing you're going to do? This applies to us a unit rate problem. I know this is a different scenario, but if we're doing unit rate, because remember, this doesn't tell us to do unit rate, but you can't really solve this problem without like really doing unit rate. It's more complicated the other way. You really just, this is your thing. So you're making it to 1 hour. This is super simple. All you got to do is divide by 12. Do the same thing. And you get 40, and this was pages, 40 pages, 40 pages per hour. This is our simple plan. Now all we gotta do is take that 40 per hour ratio. However, now we have to change it up a little bit, because this is a time, we don't know the hour, right? This time what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch it, and whoops. We're going to do 1 hour on the top, and we're going to do 40 pages on the bottom. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go, remember what makes the most sense, and then we're going to 500 pages. So that's what we found. It takes, if I were to write this, so it takes 1 hour to read 40 pages. Pretend this is a word problem. This is your final answer, like let's say. And with that scenario, what we can grab is we have to reverse it. Because remember, that was our unit rate. We're finding per hour. Now here it's making sense. Okay, so we had to find 500. We already know our denominator is 500, so we have to make the pages. Remember, pages with pages. So we put 40 on the bottom. I have to technically really divide. Like you have to, what really I would have done is in like in your calculator or whatever, I would have done 40 divided by 50, and whatever answer I get like 12.5, and I would just change it up and say times 12.5. So really 40 times 12.5 gives me 500, and what I did actually was I actually divided 500 by 40, and whatever answer I got, I really just multiplied. I said multiplying because you don't know, like, you don't even know this number. So you really have to do, only multiplying would work here because we're going small number to big number. And the arrow is going this way, but I used the help of division first, and then I added it. And so it was, I put in my calculator 500 divided by 40, and whatever answer I got, I said, okay, 40 times 12.5 is going to give me 500, and I must do the same thing to 1 hour, and this was actually pretty easy, so that will be 12.5 hours. So this is your new thing. So it takes her, it will take her 12.5 hours to read 500 page book. Now, this kind of makes sense because I can see, okay, 480 and 500 pretty close to each other, so it shouldn't be like 50 hours. It still should be same, around 12. And this is 12%, so we know we did something right. Now, what I want to review next is, do I always need to use the help of unit rate? And what I mean by this is, let's say if there was, 6 lemons, I purchased 6 lemons for, I don't know, like, $3. Okay. And I want to find out how much, well, let's say, what is the cost of, find cost of 12 lemons. Now, right away, you don't have to do 6 over 3 and make it into 1. Because remember, 1 lemon, divide by 3. Okay, so it costs $2. So that's the cost. It costs, you get $2. 2 lemons cost $1, and I would have to go 1 over 12 and make it into, oops, what am I doing? Sorry. It was 2 and make it into 12. Times by 6. And then times by 6 and get, 6 lemons. It costs $6 to get 12 lemons. This is a little bit more work on your side. So first I had to say, 6 lemons cost $3, and 2 lemons, now if I made you rate, you get 2 lemons per dollar, and with that $1, same thing, I reversed it though, and I went to, it costs $6 per 12. That's way much more work. So all I knew right away, if I had to find 12 lemons, I would actually just do normally, would be 3 over 6. And to get a 12, this is easier. All I gotta do is multiply by 2 right away, and right away I get $6. I didn't even have to do this step over here, because right away this was easier math. But however, this one's a very difficult math to do. I don't know, you're gonna get decimals in this one. Just go with the E. This one we weren't gonna get any decimal, unless again if there were 2 parts. Maybe that would have been a different scenario. When there's decimals, or you're gonna get a decimal fraction, there's not a whole number that you can think of right away, then it's just easy, just do unit rate. So not every time you have to use unit rate, unless the numbers are complicated. If this is an easy number, unless if there was so if there's easier numbers to work with, then you could get a whole number. It's way easier. We just skipped this entire step. We didn't even have to do that step. We went straight into here. So that's why it's sometimes better to really understand what you're going to do. However, most of the tests, 50%, 90% of the time, you have to use the unit rate, because you're never going to give you these such simple problems. But that's really, maths, it's easier sometimes to really think about it. But if you don't want to think about it, you can go straight into unit rate. Or if it tells you, especially says you have to use unit rate, then that's you have to use it. But most of the time you don't. It's you could get away with it. This problem was so easy with such easy numbers, you were able to skip that part. So hopefully this video helped you, and in the next video we'll probably do more wrap up of. In the next video, actually, we're going to be converting measures, and